Welcome to Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022, your day weather podcast sponsored exclusively by Cowboy State Daily, Wyoming's news authority. Visit them at cowboystatedaily.com and their Facebook page. Well, folks, as we take a look at what's coming, well, first of all, spring fever, that's what's coming. Temperature readings are going to be way up there into daytime highs in some locations, especially in far eastern Wyoming, western Nebraska, northeastern Colorado, Denver. I could see temperatures eclipsing 70. A week ago, we were below zero, so quite a turnaround. So it's going to be very mild, very pleasant today and Thursday. Even the wind isn't going to be much of a factor, so walk the dog, get outside, going to be really, really nice. Now, reality returns by this weekend and in the next week. This is not a long-term trend. This is just a nice little break in the weather. We've got a 1-2 punch of storm systems coming into the west over the next few days. This 1-2 punch will bring back winter. Temperatures will be as much as 20 to 40 degrees colder from where we are now in some areas by Sunday. Another storm system is coming in the middle of next week. So we have, in the course of the next 7 days, 3 storm systems. This will be a good pattern to build that snowpack up again, especially because we're in the time of year where the water content of the snow gets better. So after not very much snow in the mountains, January and especially February, we're about ready to see that change. Livestock interest, you need to be prepared again. I know you had it rough last week with the Arctic chill. Now we're going to be colder and wet as we get into this weekend and into next week. So folks who are in calving operations, be prepared. Today's weather map, pretty innocuous, not much going on, but here are the 2 storm systems. This is the 1-2 punch. This little low right here off the coast of California is going to come in and be coming into central and southern California in the next couple of days. However, beforehand, if you follow the contours and the wind barbs here, you can see the flow of air is all Pacific. There's no Canadian connection, and this is why it's so nice and mild, really coast to coast, with the exception of the Pacific Northwest and the northern border areas and the northern Great Lakes where you can see that colder air. This is the result. Temperature-wise, relative to the 30-year average, look how warm it is across the nation's midsection with the cold air, the green and the blue there, bottled up into Hudson Bay and up into Canada. Now, with that much cold air still up there, that is just basically fuel to the fire. When you get into March and as you get into April, the contrast between these warm-ups and still a lot of cold air in those higher latitudes generates a lot of weather. And here we go. Now, this is by Friday morning. A low swings into Southern California. So Los Angeles and San Diego, going to get some rain, going to see some snow up into the Sierras. Here is the next low coming in behind it. This little guy up here will scoot up this way. But it's really these 2 systems right here, which are our weather makers for the weekend. What'll happen with this first low is it'll get kicked rapidly Friday night into Saturday right across central Colorado, then end up by Saturday afternoon into Nebraska, while this system dives in behind it. Now, if these 2 storms were to merge and become one large organized storm, we would have a much bigger storm on our hands. But the energy's kind of split up and divided. But nonetheless, instead of one big storm, we have 2 moderate systems. And when you put that together, it will be impactful. And this is where we are by Saturday afternoon. The low is out into Nebraska. The secondary low is coming through the Las Vegas area. And notice the wind pattern. Instead of the winds coming from the Pacific, the winds are now coming from the Northwest Territories. And so the door to Canada just opens up again. And this is the end result. By Sunday afternoon, we have a better organized low near the Four Corners area, which is in a really good position to bring back snow into Colorado, Wyoming, surrounding states again. This is what the precipitation totals look like through Monday. We showed you this area yesterday as an area of concern where significant several inches of wet spring snow will develop. But you can also see these other patches of blue and yellow. The southwest mountains of Colorado are going to do very good. The Wasatch of Utah will do good. Southwestern Wyoming, Rock Springs, Green River, Evanston, and Kemmer, into Salt Lake, into the upper Green River Basin here around Pinedale. You're actually in a good pattern for a change to get some measurable snow and some precipitation. And again, this will be key into those snowpack areas. So this is that 1-2 punch. Both of those storms added together, it looks like this. And this is what the snowfall forecast through Monday afternoon looks like. We'll have a little bit of a strip of snow out here into the Plain States and Midwest and Corn Belt again. Watch this area right here. This is going to be a travel problem as well. We're expecting that Friday night through Saturday through Sunday, I-80 to have some problems. Sections of I-25 and I-70 as well. If we were to zoom in and focus in a little bit more, now these snowfall forecast amounts you see with the numbers may be overdoing it, but you can see where the purple and the pinks are is where the best, highest chance of several inches of snow will accumulate between now and Monday. And then if we zoom in even closer, you can see northeastern Wyoming here, kind of not really into getting much, but the rest of Wyoming, northern and western Colorado, western Nebraska, parts of the southern Black Hills, into southern areas of South Dakota, Pine Ridge of Nebraska. The Pine Ridge, as you get up into Nebraska, Lusk, Douglas area here, that seems to be an enhanced area where the snowfall could be a little bit heavier. And then here's that better snowfall back here in the upper Green River Basin, the Uintas, and the Wasatch. So this is great news for you skiers, great news for the snowpack. This is the time of year we're now into our first money month when it comes to precipitation. But it is going to come at a cost, and that's the temperatures. So all of these 60s and 70s we got now, goodbye by the weekend, by Sunday. Temperatures are far below average by Sunday into Monday. High temperatures will only be 20s and 30s, so not as severe as last week's Arctic outbreak, but certainly a lot colder. Now, this is the next system, and this does not look like March, really. This looks more like February or January. What we have by next Wednesday is high pressure gathering strength again and really driving in another, here, see this right here? This is another wave of really cold Arctic air again, and a push of Pacific moisture coming with it. Notice the trajectory of the air is over the water. So what that'll do is that'll bring Pacific moisture in. That on top of and combined with colder air out of Canada is going to make for another round of snow again. And here's the cold. This is by next Thursday. So here we go again. This another wedge of cold dives out of Western Canada into the region. And here's the second round of snow. Montana with this second round of snow will do well. And the mountains and the plains are going to be getting, this is the second wave. This does not include this 1-2 punch coming this weekend. So if you add up the next 2 weeks, snowfall-wise, pretty impressive across the West over the next 2 weeks. This is the precipitation liquid equivalent between now and right up into St. Patrick's Day. And this is a really good pattern where you see these heavier snow bands in the mountain ranges of the West. This is a snowpack builder, just like that. Lighter amounts on the plains. We still have this dry hole right here that's been with us all winter. And if you were to look at relative to average through the next 2 weeks, the green shows that the next 2 weeks shows the tendency will be for above normal precipitation. So when you look at Montana, Wyoming, South Dakota, western Nebraska there, back into Idaho, eastern Oregon and Washington, this is a really good pattern to bring needed precipitation. Have yourself a great Wednesday. We'll update you tomorrow. We'll get more and more detail as we get a little bit closer to the weekend to really see how much snow will fall and get more specific. Have yourself a good Wednesday.